Oakhaven was a quiet village, hidden in a valley where the morning mist clung to the rooftops, and the air always seemed to carry a secret. Life here moved at a gentle pace, untouched by the rush of the outside world, as if time itself had slowed to a careful crawl. The village was shadowed by ancient woods, their gnarled branches reaching out like watchful sentinels. The forest was both a protector and a silent witness, its depths holding stories older than any living soul in Oakhaven. The villagers lived by old ways, clinging to traditions passed down through generations. Yet beneath their calm routines was a deep, unspoken fear, one that shaped every aspect of their lives. It was the fear of mirrors, a terror that lingered in every shadowed corner. Outsiders called it superstition, dismissing the villagers' caution as mere folklore. But for Oakhaven, mirrors were not just objects, they were doorways, traps that could steal a piece of your soul if you weren't careful. The glass was said to whisper, to beckon, to hunger for the unwary. Homes were kept dim, with heavy curtains drawn tight against the sun. Polished surfaces were avoided, and even the smallest glint of reflection was a cause for concern. The villagers believed that light could awaken something in the glass, something best left undisturbed. Even puddles and spoons were treated with caution. Children were taught to step around water on the street and to eat with their eyes averted from the shine of metal. Any surface that could catch a reflection was a potential threat. Children learned early, never meet your own gaze in a reflection. Elders would warn them in hushed tones, telling tales of those who had vanished after glimpsing themselves in the wrong mirror at the wrong time. Stories were told of those lost to the glass, their spirits fading into the silent world behind it. Some said you could hear their voices on cold nights, whispering from the other side, longing to return but forever trapped. The largest mirrors, relics from before the fear took hold, were hidden away in the old meeting hall. Covered with heavy cloths, they stood like silent sentinels, untouched and avoided by all. No one dared to remove the coverings, not even during festivals or gatherings. The villagers felt their presence, a weight in the air, a constant hum of dread that never quite faded. Even in moments of celebration, the fear lingered, a reminder that the glass was always watching. This fear shaped Oakhaven, binding the people in a pact of vigilance. At dusk, families would gather to lock windows and cover every reflective surface, whispering old prayers for protection. When someone fell ill, every reflective surface was covered. It was believed that sickness made the soul vulnerable and the glass would try to claim it. When someone died, mirrors were purged from their home. The villagers would gather in silence, wrapping each mirror and carrying it away, ensuring the spirit could pass on without being trapped. Life was lived in the shadows, terrified of what the light and the glass might reveal. The fear was not just of what was seen, but of what might be lurking just out of sight, waiting for a careless glance. In Oakhaven, what you couldn't see was often more terrifying than what you could. And so, the village endured, bound together by their shared dread, forever listening for the faint, whispering call of the glass. Allara was different, an outsider, vibrant and unafraid of light or reflection. She carried herself with a quiet confidence, her presence both captivating and unsettling to those around her. Where others shied away from the unknown, Allara seemed to walk straight into it, her eyes always searching for something just beyond the visible. The sunlight seemed to follow her, casting both brilliance and shadow in her wake, as if she belonged to both worlds at once. She arrived with her husband Liam, who tried to shield her from the village's fear. Liam, ever the protector, sensed the unease in the air as they walked through the narrow streets of Oakhaven. He would often place a reassuring hand on her shoulder, hoping to absorb some of the suspicion that seemed to cling to them. But Allara, with her gentle smile and unwavering gaze, refused to let the villagers' whispers define her. Allara saw beauty in reflections, keeping a small mirror hidden as a secret treasure. To her, mirrors were not objects of vanity but portals to understanding. She would trace her fingers along the cool glass, searching for stories in the shimmer, finding comfort in the way her own image shifted with the changing light. The mirror was her companion, a silent witness to her thoughts and dreams. Her friendship with Maeve, a true daughter of Oakhaven, was a dance between caution and curiosity. Maeve, raised on tales of superstition, watched Allara with both admiration and concern. Their conversations were filled with questions and laughter, each woman learning from the other. Maeve's caution was a gentle tether, while Allara's curiosity pulled them both toward the unknown. Allara was a painter, fascinated by what lay beyond the surface. Her canvases were filled with shifting light and shadow, capturing moments that others overlooked. She painted not just what she saw, but what she felt, layers of memory, hope, and longing. Each brushstroke was a question, each color a possibility. She saw mirrors as windows to hidden truths, not traps. To Allara, every reflection was a story waiting to be told, a secret waiting to be uncovered. She believed that the world behind the glass was just as real as the one before it, and she longed to understand its mysteries. The villagers watched her uneasily, whispering that she tempted fate. Their eyes followed her wherever she went, their voices low and urgent. They spoke of old legends, of mirrors that stole souls and women who vanished into their own reflections. Allara became the subject of their fears, a living reminder of everything they did not understand. Despite warnings, Allara explored her fascination, secretly uncovering the old mirrors in the meeting hall. She moved quietly through the abandoned rooms, her heart pounding with excitement and trepidation. Each mirror she found was a piece of forgotten history, a fragment of the village's past that called out to her. She felt drawn to them, not by fear, but by curiosity. The mirrors seemed to beckon her, their surfaces shimmering with possibility. Allara wondered what secrets they held, what memories they might reveal if only she looked deeply enough. She believed mirrors held memories, echoes of the past, not stolen souls. To her, they were vessels of truth, keepers of stories long forgotten. She imagined the lives reflected in their glass, the joys and sorrows etched into their silvered surfaces. Her relentless quest for understanding set her apart. Allara walked a lonely path, guided by her need to know, to see beyond the veil of superstition that clouded the village's mind. She was determined to find answers, even if it meant standing alone. Allara wanted to peel back superstition and find the truth. She pored over old books and faded letters, searching for clues in the margins of history. Every discovery brought her closer to understanding, but also deeper into the shadows of the unknown. It was this search that would lead her to a place from which she could never return. Allara stood at the threshold, heart pounding, knowing that the answers she sought might come at a price. Yet she stepped forward, drawn by the promise of truth, ready to face whatever lay beyond the glass. On a gray Tuesday, the kind of day when the clouds pressed low and the air felt heavy, Allara and Liam's voices echoed through their small home. Liam pleaded with Allara, his words urgent, almost desperate. He begged her to hide her mirror, to lock it away somewhere safe. But Allara, clutching the ornate frame to her chest, shook her head. She refused, her eyes shining with a mix of fear and defiance. The mirror, she insisted, was not the problem. It was the only thing she trusted. Unable to convince her, Liam stormed out, the door slamming behind him. Hours later, when he returned, the house was eerily silent. Allara was gone. There was no sign of a struggle, no overturned furniture, no broken glass, just a chilling absence, as if she had simply vanished into thin air, leaving behind only her scent and the faintest echo of her presence. The village rallied together, searching the woods, the fields, and every shadowed corner. Lanterns bobbed through the dusk as neighbors called her name, their voices growing hoarse and anxious. But Allara had vanished without a trace, as if the earth itself had swallowed her whole. As night crept in, hope faded from the villagers' faces. The comforting routines of the day dissolved, replaced by a growing sense of dread that settled over Oakhaven like a shroud. Whispers of old superstitions began to stir. Yet the strangest thing was not Allara's disappearance, but what began to happen to the mirrors. All across the village, mirrors seemed to change. Their surfaces shimmered with a strange, unnatural light, and their reflections grew dim and uncertain. In the meeting hall, the covered mirrors felt heavier than before, as if the fabric itself was struggling to contain something restless beneath. The air around them grew colder, and a low, almost imperceptible hum filled the room, making the villagers uneasy. Even the simplest reflections, those in puddles after the rain or in the curve of a spoon, became warped and dark, as if the world behind the glass was twisting away from reality. It was as if every reflective surface in Oakhaven was holding its breath, waiting for something to happen, or perhaps mourning something lost. Then, the impossible. People looked into their mirrors and saw nothing. No faces, no rooms, just a blank, empty surface. The reflections had gone silent, as if the world behind the glass had closed its eyes. Fear swept through Oakhaven, deeper and more chilling than before. The villagers gathered in small groups, whispering about curses and omens, their eyes darting to every shiny surface, afraid of what they might or might not see. Allara was gone, and with her, something fundamental had shifted in the world of glass. The mirrors no longer offered comfort or truth. They had become portals to uncertainty, their silence a warning. The village felt watched, as if unseen eyes peered from every window and every mirror. Oakhaven was haunted, not by what they could see, but by what they could no longer find in their own reflections. The silence of the mirrors was more frightening than any story the villagers had ever told. And in that silence a new chapter of fear began. Days passed, the search ended, but Liam refused to give up. He haunted their home, blaming the mirror for Allara's loss. Maeve saw Allara's face in the dishwater, sad, pleading, gone in a blink. Others glimpsed her too, in a well bucket, a shop window, a shard of glass. Allara's image flickered at the edge of vision. Never clear, always fading. The village panicked, covering every reflective surface. Liam heard the whispers, dismissed them, then clung to hope. One night he stared into Allara's mirror, whispering her name. For a moment his reflection changed. It was her, sorrowful and translucent. Then, she vanished, leaving him shaken and desperate. The sightings confirmed she was there, but unreachable. The glass had become a barrier, and Allara a ghost in its world. The village's fear deepened, and Liam's obsession began. Liam's grief turned to obsession. Allara wasn't dead, she was trapped. He filled his workshop with mirrors, metal and water, searching for her. Maeve joined him, her fear replaced by loyalty and guilt. They questioned the elders, who warned that souls taken by mirrors could never return. Liam refused to accept it, experimenting with mirrors facing each other, whispering Allara's name. Sometimes her face flickered in the glass, mouth open in silent plea. Each glimpse was both hope and torment. Liam stopped working. Maeve neglected her home. Both were consumed by the search. The villagers pitied and feared them, whispering that Liam was courting the same fate. He was breaking the village's oldest law, risking consequences for all. The line between love and madness blurred. The mirrors became both prison and obsession. The village watched, afraid of what might come next. Guilt haunted Liam and Maeve. Liam replayed their last argument, blaming himself for pushing Allara away. Maeve wondered if her warnings had isolated Allara, missing what her friend truly sought. Their shared guilt became a silent bond, fueling their desperate search. The mirrors reflected not just Allara, but their own regret and sorrow. Allara's image sometimes looked accusing, disappointment in her eyes. The glass became a weapon, turning their grief against them. During a storm, Liam smashed a mirror, and saw Allara's face in every shard. She was not just trapped, she was the mirrors, her essence woven into every reflection. The village superstition was both right and wrong. Mirrors didn't steal souls, they transformed them. Allara's curiosity and longing had made her vulnerable. The mirror had answered her call. She became a silent observer, everywhere and nowhere. The revelation was devastating. She hadn't been taken, she had become the glass. Liam and Maeve realized there was no rescue. Allara was now the world behind the glass. She watched, loving but forever out of reach. Oakhaven changed. Fear of mirrors deepened, now tinged with sorrow. Allara became a constant presence, her image glimpsed in windows and water. Liam and Maeve stopped searching, learning to live with her silent company. They didn't cover the mirrors, but spoke to her in their own ways. Maeve painted, honoring Allara's vision. Liam found peace by the pond. Allara watched from her world, seeing life go on without her. She was a memory that lingered, an echo in every reflection. Love persisted even when the person was gone. Years passed. Allara's story became Oakhaven's legend. The mirrors in the meeting hall were uncovered, now a memorial. Liam grew old, teaching children to respect, not fear, reflections. The village learned to live with mystery, letting in light and cautious wisdom. Allara's legacy was one of loss and presence, a reminder that those we lose are never truly gone. In every reflection, her story lived on. Oakhaven's haunting melody was now one of love, grief, and the mysterious power of the glass.